So a lot of my subscribers have been wondering why I haven't been making any videos for the past couple of weeks. Have I been studying? Being lazy? Maybe I've been sick. Maybe somebody killed me.
I'll kill you.
Well, actually, all of those things happened to me. But mostly what it was I had a Spanish video project for my school, so I had to give my teacher my thumb drive, and she didn't give it back for about 2 weeks. Okay, I have Chris here today with me to help me talk about our top 5 games this generation. This generation could be any console starting in the year 2005 when the Xbox 360 launched. Alright, our first game is the only time when we actually completely agree. Our number 5 game in our top 5 is Fallout 3. Now, the good things about this game are just the gameplay. There's so many different guns, it's so much fun to do, the targeting system is really good, and the story is really in-depth. I like Metal Gear Solid story a little bit more, but it's still really good. It's really dark atmosphere, really cool game to play. So what are your comments about some of the problems?
When I got this game, I had a really big glitch that cost me a lot of hours. It automatically started on hard, or the hardest difficulty, so I couldn't do anything because it was so hard and I was such a noob. So after a long time, I finally realized, okay, I'm going to change the difficulty. So, I mean, that was a huge, I guess, glitch that I hit.
And from my experience, the PS3 version is the worst version, but the PC version also has some problems. So 5 due to glitches, but a really good game overall.
Yep.
Now we disagree on our number 4 game of this generation. My number 4 game is probably the most underrated game that come out perhaps ever, but definitely the last 5 years, or 10 years I would say. Valkyria Chronicles. Now I have no idea why no one has played this game. Its average review score is about like an 89 out of 100, which is really good. It's a role-playing game from Sega. Not that many people have heard of it though. It's a really good game, PS3 exclusive, fun role-playing game, actually Japanese role-playing game from Sega. The plot basically focuses around a story of World War II. And if you're familiar with World War II, you basically play as Poland against both Russia and Germany. The names are different, the technology is sci-fi basically, or fiction at least. But it's a really cool game. I suggest everyone try it out. And Chris, number 4?
Alright, for number 4, I'm going to choose the Assassin's Creed series. Now, before I get over anything, do not play the second one without playing the first one. Just don't, okay? The second one has its disadvantages and its advantages from the first one. Same thing with the first one, but in general, it's a very good game. Just buy it.
Yeah, it's good. We also disagree on our number 3 games. My number 3 game is actually the PS2 game, God of War 2. I've not played God of War 3, but this is a really good game. It showed off the best the PS2 could do. The graphics were amazing, and it made Greek mythology really interesting. And that's kind of hard to do when your source material is a couple books that are a couple thousand years old, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really violent and just really fun. The plot is gory, but awesome. And Chris, we don't have a disc for your number 3, so just explain it.
My number 3 is a very underrated game. It's called Warband, other known as Mountain Blade.
That's for PC.
Yes, it is on the PC only, but Mountain Blade is basically a medieval RPG. You basically go in a top bird view, whatever that's called, type style map, and you go around and you just recruit people and you train them to get better and better, and then you attack factions or you can become part of that faction. You can marry people, all that good stuff. It's a really good game. It's got actually very good reviews. The newest one has multiplayer. It's pretty cheap. I would recommend to buy it.
Alright. Now, we disagree on number 2. My number 2 is Uncharted 2. Definitely a contender for number 1. It got real close, and I think most of my subscribers can guess what took number 1. But Uncharted 2 is awesome because the graphics are amazing. Just the best graphics I've ever seen on a console. But also the story is really emotional, especially at the end when there's a little tragedy with one of the main characters, but I don't want to spoil the plot. It really takes you by surprise and it's really emotional. The gameplay, of course, is phenomenal. It's better than Gears of War as a third-person shooter, in my opinion.
No way.
No, it's really good. So, Chris, you're number 2.
My number 2 would be Metal Gear Solid 4.
Guns of the Patriots.
You know, I'm going to have to say this is pretty much self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Absolutely great game. Fantastic story, fantastic graphics. Just pure out amazing. It's just so much fun to sneak around and just doing all these little tricks on the enemies and stuff like that. It's great. The bosses are pretty epic and stuff like that. Brutal.
And now the number 1 game of this generation on any console, in my opinion, should come as no surprise to my subscribers, is Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Friggin' Patriots.
It's a stupid game.
Yeah, right. Now, Chris, this got number 2 on yours. I don't know how anything beat this, but you know what? This is an amazing game. It's my second favorite of the Metal Gear games, barely losing out to Metal Gear Solid 1. Now, he already said some of the good stuff about the games. The boss fights are incredible, which is something that we've grown to expect from Metal Gear Solid. And so are the graphics. So the gameplay is so creative. There's new stuff. Despite the series being 20 years old, Hideo Kojima, the maker of Metal Gear, can still come up with new ideas. I want to address one complaint. A lot of people complain about the cutscenes, but there's no reason to. You can skip them, you can pause them, and really there's no reason to do either of those things, well, unless you have to go get a drink. But there's no reason to skip them ever, because they're really well made, they're really interesting plot-wise.
Not really boring.
No, they're not. People say they're boring, but those are Xbox fanboys. I went on a forum just yesterday, and I looked back, like when Metal Gear was coming out, and there was a Metal Gear fanboy, an Xbox fanboy who said that Metal Gear Solid 4 was boring about a month before the game came out.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, yeah, come on. That's just stupid, people. Come on, don't make up your mind about a game before you even play it. So, Chris, you're number 1.
My number 1 is going to be the greatest game ever to be made is Team Fortress 2. If you have played this game, I'm sure you will agree with me. It is an absolute great game. It's just fantastic. For some reason, the updates are pretty good, except for the recent one, which kind of screwed a lot of things up, but they've been working on it, and it's getting better.
Also, the PC version's getting the updates.
Yep, and, oh, right. The original versions, I've been told, they haven't been updated in pretty much years, so I'm going to have to kind of say it's an exclusive for PC. Unless you want to play an older version of it, then go ahead and buy it. But, I mean, if you're able to get it on the PC, definitely get it on the PC, but not a console, because it's so much better. More people play it. Bugs are fixed. More stuff are on it. It's just better.
All right. You done?
Yep.